Hello YouTube, it's Carlos the Rook. Today is a very sad day for the chess world. We just lost Daniel Naroditsky at the age of 29. My favorite YouTuber. I met him last year in Charlotte at the North Carolina Open when I won my section there. And he's been very impactful in my chess progress. The details of his death is not out yet, but I would like to send prayers and condolences to the family, and I ask that everyone pray for them to grant them strength in this time of tribulation. Now I would like to go over round two to the Wolf Chess Championship. In round two, I was playing Adrit. He's rated 1382. I'm rated 1729. I started off with, no, he's white, I'm black. So he starts off E4. I respond with C5, Sicilian defense, knight F3, D6, knight C3, A6. So knight c3 is a very odd move. Let me back up. Knight c3 is odd. Normally people play d4 here, and I've also heard of the a3 Sicilian. So knight c3 came as a surprise. And here the engine recommends e5 as the best move. So basically what the engine wants to do is close off the center and take more space. Excuse me. But I play a6, a4, and the objective is to stop b5. So I go knight c6, bishop c4, and now e6 to stop anything from hitting f7, any type of sacrifices. He goes d3, and then notes that this is unusual moves for white. So here I go knight f6. Just continuing Norman development. Now he goes d4. So basically he just lost a tempo. If he's going to go d4, why go d3 just to go d4? That doesn't make sense to me. So c captures d4, knight captures d4, and here I go queen b6. And it's similar to some lines I have in the Najdorf. It's not exactly the same, but it's similar. And the idea is, if he goes bishop e3, I sack the pawn on b2, threatening the knight on c3. So he plays knight b3, falling back. And I go bishop e7, a quiet developing move. And here he plays a5, hitting at the queen. I move the queen to c7. He goes bishop d3, and I decide to castle. Now here, the engine wants d5 right away. And I didn't think I had d5. I was thinking d5, he can go e captures d5, then knight captures d5, knight captures d5, then e captures d5, and I got an isolated pawn, and my king needs to castle because it's open. But obviously the engine thinks that line is okay. But I decided to castle. He castles. And here I go rook d8. And my objective is I want to go d5. The engine wants b5 here instead of rook d8. So he plays bishop e3. He's threatening the pin. Right there. The pin and skewer my queen. It's a skewer, not a pin. Forgive me. So he's threatening to skewer my queen rook on his dark diagonal. So I go b5. The knight is protecting that diagonal anyway, which is why I put the knight there. Hold on, I skipped a move. Bishop e3. Knight d7. I move the knight to d7 to protect that against that skewer. And here he goes f4. Taking some space on the king's side, threatening a possible f5. So I respond with b5, and the engine thought that was wrong. It wanted b6, forcing him to take and open up the queen side. He takes incorrectly. I capture with the knight, and he goes queen e2, putting pressure on the a6 pawn. I go knight b4, protecting the pawn. And here the engine Stockfish is saying d5 is more complex. It wants d5, f5, d4, bishop to f4, and bishop to d6. That is complex. What's going on here? Bishop captures, queen captures, then the knight moves away. Okay. But the chess.com engine liked it knight b4 and said that was the best move. It protects the pawn, it threatens the light square bishop. So he responded with queen f2, threatening to take the knight. Move the knight back to d7. And here he plays bishop e2. So rook on f to c1 would have been the best move. He just loses the pawn. Knight captures c2. Rook on a to c1. Knight captures e3. Taking that dark square bishop away. Now my bishop reigns supreme. Queen captures e3. And the engine is saying black must now prevent knight d5. I play queen b8. I'm getting off of this discovered attack behind a rook. He plays knight d4. He's threatening the knight to come in to c6 and fork, a three-way fork. Queen, rook, and bishop. I respond bishop b7, protecting against that square. He responds bishop f3, bishop f6. King moves over to h1, getting out away from the diagonal with that queen. And that was our idea. Queen a7, bishop captures d4. And then here I go queen a7. Anyway, even though the king is no longer on that diagonal, putting pressure on that knight. Goes rook on f to d1, protecting the knight. And here I play e5. F captures, d captures, knight to f5. And here the engine has me up at 2.82. Advantage to black. I thought maybe knight to c2 was a better move. I capture here, the knight captures back, then I go bishop g5, pinning the knight to the rook. I just want to put a little pressure on his position. And here Stockfish says the pair of bishops is nice. So he goes rook e1, protecting the knight. And here I go knight c5. And the engine is telling you the idea here would be knight to e6 to d5 is the idea. It's saying white is weak on the dark squares because I got rid of the dark square bishop. And so I'm supposed to exploit the dark square weaknesses of white. So he goes rook c2. I respond knight e6. He goes knight c d5, bringing his knight there. And I go knight d4, hitting the rook and the bishop. Rook c7. I capture the knight. He captures back. I didn't like the idea of giving him this knight outpost here, but I felt at the same time this pawn is weak. My knight is also going to be on the outpost. I got the dark squares. His bishop is doing absolutely nothing right here. It's just a tall pawn. So I felt like I had a better position. And here Stockfish is giving me negative 1.92. So I lost a full point almost in positional strength. So I moved the rook to b8 going after the pawn. He goes b4. Stockfish wants bishop d2. I considered it, but I thought bishop d2, rook b1, bishop d2, rook b1, and the pawn is protected. Let's look deeper into that. Bishop d2. It's saying rook a1. Bishop just giving it up. But let's say instead of rook a1, it's rook b1. a5. I thought of a5, but I wasn't sure. If you go a5, what's to stop him from going b5? Oh, it falls. The knight. You take with the rook and then capture back with the knight. It just falls. Okay, so that's the move. Alright. So he played b4, and I went g6. I think my idea at the time was maybe a f5, trying to get a pawn break, or maybe bringing the bishop into g7 and getting some defense on the king. I wasn't sure at the time. And here you go to the rook to a1. I move the rook back to a8. And Stockfish wants me to move the rook to c8, threatening to change rooks. You go knight b6. I go rook on a to b8, giving up the pawn. He captures. Knight e6, hitting the rook. Rook c3. And here I play bishop d2. I thought I was hitting the rook and the pawn. If I were to play rook d6, the knight just falls. It just completely falls. And there's no way to say the knight is pinned to the rook, and I'll win a piece. I just completely missed this move. Rook d6 wins a piece. Rook d6, bishop e2, rook captures, rook captures, rook captures, and I'm up a piece. That's all I had to do. Instead, I went bishop d2, missing that. He goes rook b3, missing the move, and once again, I got rook d2. Rook d6. I go knight c7, trying to fork the rook and get the piece that way. He goes after my knight. So I go knight b5, hitting the rook one more time. And he come with this move here. So in essence, we end up exchanging rooks now. He forces me to exchange. So I capture the rook. He captures back with the knight. Rook c8. Hitting the open file. And my idea is rook c1 and mating 2. So he goes knight c5. And here the engine wants rook a8. But I went bishop captures b4. Rook captures b4. Rook captures c5. And I'm up a pawn. So we're going into an endgame. h3. Knight to d4. Rook to b8 check. King g7. Here he goes rook to d8. I felt like that was a complete error. Rook c3. My idea is to get behind this pawn. I'm threatening to capture twice on f3 and go up a second pawn. He goes bishop g4, trying to get out of the way. Rook e3. Rook e8. Now he's too late. He's on the wrong square. Rook captures e4, and now that pawn's protected. Now he started bringing his king up. f5, hitting at the bishop. The bishop goes back to f3. I trade off now. I'm up 2 pawns in a winning endgame. G catches back. Rook e3. King to g2. Rook to e2. King moves over, threatening the rook. Rook comes back to e3. King comes up. f4, solidifying the rook. Rook e7 check. I go king h6. And Stockfish is saying that was an error. It was saying I should have went king g8, h4, h6. Why is king h6 an error? It's saying h4 is even? Why is h4 even? Oh, but if you go g5, h captures g5. If king captures, rook captures, then you just up 1 pawn instead of 2. You lose 2 pawns for that 1. So that was an error. But he missed it. He played rook a7. Now I go g5. Rook a1, trying to get his rook back to protect his pawn. I start marching up. Rook over here. h6. Rook h2. And now I go e4 with a pawn break here. And my threat is to get my pawns marching and trade off this pawn. Bring my king to h4 and trade off the pawn with the rook. F captures e4, rook captures e4. He steps his king up, but that's futile. I check him and make the king go back. King f2, king h4, rook h1, rook captures h3. You swing the rook over, rook to e3, rook to d6, h5, d5, g4, and I went on to march the pawns in for a win. Thank you for watching this. Press like, hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, subscribe. It's absolutely free. And have a nice day. Thank you so much, YouTube.